This is Two Teachers Chat with your hosts, Brenda McCrate and Peggy Wilbur.
Hey, Brenda.
Hi, Peg. We are Two Teachers Chat.
Well, I have a question for
Of course you do.
today. As a teacher, what would you hope that your principal would do when you got to the last resort and sent a student to the office due to behavior?
Well, I've been fortunate to have a couple principals do just what I would appreciate them doing. We've talked before about you've got to teach the kids how to cope with their own emotions, with the fact that they're becoming disinterested in what's being taught, whatever. And so in my classroom, I try to do that teaching. I do that teaching every day. We do deep breathing, we do exercises, we do things to calm ourselves down. But when you have 30 kids in classroom or more, sometimes, stopping the lesson and helping that one kid may not be practical. It may just be, or it may be the third time that day that you've stopped the lesson and you just can't do it again. And so you send them to the principal. What I've always hoped that a principal would do is to try to get to the cause, try to find out what's happening. Take whatever the child says with a grain of salt, because we know they don't always tell us completely.
And they might not
Exactly,
know.
because they're seeing it from their perspective,
Right.
you know?
And it could be just that they shut down because their brain thought that whatever it was too hard and they were lost and
Right.
they didn't get it.
Yeah.
And that might have been on top of not going to sleep at night because the apartment's too loud,
Yeah.
and those
Or
kind of
having
things.
somebody pick on them that morning, or whatever might have happened to accumulate
Right.
the stress.
Yes.
Because we know we have a lot of kids who are living in constant stress.
Right.
And it shuts the brain down.
Yeah.
So as a principal, when a kid comes to you, you can make it a priority, because I know you've got the forms to fill out and the papers and the budget that you're working on and the salesperson that showed up and blah 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 blah, and
Emails.
six evaluations to finish
Right.
and emails. But the kids are the most important. So first of all, make that child your priority. Sit down and talk to them. First, maybe just get them to calm down, because they may come in like this.
Or having been crying for the last 10 minutes. Yeah.
And you know that their brain is not in a place to talk to you reasonably. So the first thing you do is you teach them how to breathe. You get them to count to 10. You get them breathing. You get them talking, relaxing. And then you say, so tell me what happened. And hopefully by then they're calm enough to tell you. And you may ask why, you may not, because sometimes kids simply don't know why they acted the way they did. It was just what happened. But if they can tell you what happened, and then hopefully you've got the little note or the the form that the teacher filled out, or the note that they sent, or something, to kind of give you the other side of it. But if you can help that child even a little bit to learn to cope with their own emotions and the situation that sets them off, So you've had them breathing. You can say, did that help you calm down? So the next time you start feeling like this, you could breathe. Let's practice that. Let's practice breathe in, breathe out through your mouth. Breathe in, breathe out through your mouth. How are you feeling now? You can talk to them about thinking of a pleasant place. Do they have a place that they enjoy? Can they picture that when they start getting upset? And then the breathing will come naturally. So once you feel calmed down, are you allowed to blow off what the teacher's asking you to do. Basically, with an older kid, I'd say blow off,
Right.
With a little kid, are you allowed to just get up and scream and yell? You have to be very specific with small children.
Right.
No. So what else can we think of that you can do? So first you're going to breathe, and then you're going to think of your place, your safe place, and you're going to get yourself calmed down. Now, what is it about the assignment you got today that made you get so upset? And it might be
That was tricky.
it was hard and I couldn't do it. It could be I've done 3 of these, I know how to do them, I'm bored. So depending on the answer, like we've talked before, that communication, once you get them calm enough to tell you why, then you can talk to them about what could you have done. I had this kid come in from another teacher's class, and he talked out or something or whatever, and was blurting out and everything. And I asked him, why were you doing it? Once I got him calmed down.
Right.
He said, I wanted the teacher's attention. So we talked about other ways to get the teacher's attention. Hold your hand up. Don't expect to get called on every single time. You just, she's got 30 of you. She can't call on you every time. Go up afterwards on the way to recess and say, can I tell you something? So you're still getting the attention, but you're having to wait a little bit, which is good for kids to learn. If the assignment's too hard, what can you do? Well, you could ask for help. And if the teacher doesn't have time to give it to you, could you ask the teacher if you could get a little help from someone that can do the assignment? If it's boring, can you tell her, I think I know how to do this. Is there something, could I show you with a couple examples and then you could give me something harder? You're teaching them to negotiate.
Right.
Parents who have children who know how to function in the academic system have been teaching them to negotiate since they could talk. So timeout happened because you threw a temper tantrum. You might have gotten what you wanted if you'd done some negotiating, and we teach that.
Instead.
Yeah, because if you're going to throw a temper tantrum at the grocery store, there's no chance that you're ever going to get that candy that you want.
Right.
But if you start talking to me at the beginning about that candy that you want and what you might do to earn it, or to get it, or, whatever, then maybe as a reasonable parent who can afford the 69-cent candy bar or 89-cent candy bar or whatever, I might negotiate with you.
So you're making an important point, which is the principal's talking to the child, and the principal's talking about the word negotiate. And then the principal also has been talking to the teachers about negotiating and the value of that soft skill. Which we do that all the time.
Sure.
But everybody gets turned off by somebody that's yelling or screaming or having an adult temper tantrum, whatever.
Exactly. Even if it's the boss.
But what you're saying is really, once again, a relationship that the principal establishes with the student. And the opposite would be putting the student in, let's say, the nurse's office, putting work in front of them that they probably already could not do, and then saying, you sit there.
Until I'm ready to send you back.
Right.
Yeah,
or
like
you sit there
voice.
for half a day until lunchtime.
Right.
And the child is losing out in every way, not able to benefit from learning how to self-regulate and breathe and go to their safe place. But so they're left alone with really scary emotions and separated when what they wanted to do was to connect with an adult.
Yep. And they're being left out of the classroom.
Yes.
And that's where the instruction is.
Right.
Now, the other piece that the principal absolutely needs to do, and I've had some great ones who didn't always do this because they had poor memories. So if you need to jot this down, jot it down now, all principals. But after you've talked to this child and you've gotten them and you've had them practice even, I'm the teacher, the work is too hard, what are you going to talk to me about? I'm really busy with Joe over here, what can you say to me? Or the work is too easy, let's practice that. When you've done all that, and it's going to take you 10 to 15 minutes, but it's going to be well worth it. But then you need to find time to communicate this same thing to the teacher who sent them to you. Because the teacher doesn't know what you're doing. The teacher doesn't know if you're like some of her principals who said, oh, poor baby, the teacher is mad at you. I'm so sorry. Here, sit here for a few minutes and get yourself calmed down. And oh, have a piece of licorice. And then I'll take you back. Well, that means that the next time that kid gets annoyed in the slightest way at me, the classroom teacher, they're going to blow up because guess what? They got babied and they got a piece of licorice. And what did I get back? A child who knows how to play the system. I don't know if you're that kind of principal. I don't know if you're the kind that sat them at the nurse's desk and got all mad at them on my behalf, and I know you were trying to do it on my behalf.
Right.
You're a good guy or a good gal. But you know what? If you're negotiating and you're teaching them how to cope, oh my goodness, I will appreciate that to death. That is a life skill. But I need to know that you did it. So I need a note in my box, or I need you to walk that child down and have a little whispery conversation with me for a minute and a half while I say, children, talk to each other. Okay. And this is what I did. And, so the next time he starts getting, tell him, remember what so-and-so said about negotiating, And then, yes, talk to the whole staff about that. Teach them how you're doing it, because we don't all know it. And then say, and if you can do this in the classroom, it'll save a trip to the office. And if I'm not there or, I'm with somebody else, it'll help. But this is what I'm going to do with kids. Now, there are the frequent flyers who, after a while, we know that's not working. So we're calling parents, we're meeting, we're doing whatever we need. But if this is a once in a while thing, or a kid who can really learn how to do this, hurrah, but let your teacher know that you did this, because otherwise we can't read your mind, and we, based on our previous experience, will assume that you either got tough with them or you got cute with them and sweet with them, and maybe not teach them to cope and negotiate, because those are few and far between, the principals who actually do that. So become one of those principals so your teachers can adore you. Okay? Do it and go get some more coffee.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you for watching 2 Teachers Chat. Until next time, and remember, teachers touch lives forever.